Hey lovers, it's your girl Tanika Keisha, and I am back with another dope vlog about my journey in Atlanta. And this is gonna help anybody out, no matter where you're at. And this is gonna be for my girlies, and I mean my fellas too, clock that T. But anybody that's looking to be a server or a bottle girl. Now, the reason why I say boys is because I mean there are a lot of gay clubs out there, and there are clubs out there that do have bottle boys. So this is going to be my opinion on the two. This is just going to be from my own experience. So let's get right into it. I don't like to waste no time. So when it comes down to serving, it depends on the environment. That's the one thing I realized. Like, it depends if it's like a lounge or if it's a restaurant or a club. It is definitely a difference. When it comes down to a lounge and a club, it's not too much of a difference, but I'm going to give my opinion on all three. So I started off as a, also too, I'm going to add in bartender. My bad, y'all. So it's going to be bartender, bottle girl, and server. So I started off as a bartender. And when I was a bartender, I did it at a club, and it was slash like a strip club on certain nights, but primarily it was a club. And I would say my experience with that club was fairly easy because all you were doing was pouring shots. So if you are a beginner, you don't really know your drinks like that, then you are going to probably want to start off with bartending somewhere where you're only pouring shots. And it is easy, don't get me wrong, but at the same time with my girlies, and I was the type of person where when I was in that industry, I liked having long nails. I don't know, it was just, you want to definitely make sure your hands are on point because you're going to be serving people, and dudes and females look at that. So I just liked having longer nails when I was bartending, but it is very hard when you're dealing with big bottles and you want to be sexy when you're pouring the shots. Like, you don't want to be looking goofy or holding the bottle with both hands. Like, I mean, you're obviously going to use both hands. This is not a tutorial on how to, pour the shots or nothing like that. But nevertheless, it was easier obviously to pour shots. The hardest thing is like if you're wearing nails, and then depending on the machine that the club uses. Certain clubs, like the one that I was at, when you pour a shot, it adds the total right then and there. So if you messing up with the shots and you double adding, keep in mind that's a big deal because voiding out stuff, which I didn't know, because I kind of felt like at first when I'm like, damn, why they getting an attitude about having to void out stuff, it costs. So voiding out does cost. So keep that in mind. Also too, it may be easy pouring shots, but one thing for sure, you got to know what your bar has. Like, you got to know your drinks. And that was another thing. Like, my memory is not the best. Like, it's good, but it's not the best. And you got to know your drinks. If you know your drinks, you're good. Like, that right there is going to be super easy. Now, when it comes down to the money with bartending, I will say that the money is really good with bartending. You keep all your tips, and then if you work at a club that pays you hourly, most clubs is not going to pay you, depending on if you're working like obviously a upscale club or whatever, but majority, depending on your state, you could either make $0 hourly, $2, up to upscale clubs, they're paying their bartenders 20 plus an hour. But that's when you know your shit. Clearly, that's not going to be you just pouring shots. You're going to really have to know your shit if you're trying to get that type of money. But bartending is fairly easy if you're only pouring shots. Now, if you got to work we're gonna move to bartending at a restaurant. I did that too, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I really do not know the drinks by heart. But the good thing is with this restaurant, they had a like a drink menu. So for the bartenders in the back of the bar, we could just look at that. So that was fairly easy. Like, I'm a fast learner and I know how to obviously read quick. So if you know how to do that and you're not shy about that, then you're gonna be good. But it only got intense for me when I was doing that was when I was by myself. When you're the only one behind the bar at a, and this was more of a lounge, I guess. So this was more of a lounge when I started bartending more for like the restaurant lounge kind of thing. Um the only thing with that is if you by yourself, it gets busy. And I put on that application that I had bartending experience, knowing I really only pour shots. So be ready to take those risks because they probably will put you behind that bar. And the good thing is, though, even though there was like one night that got super intense where like these people was super bougie. When you downtown and you got the bougie people, especially my gays, like they be on their shit and they want their shit right, rightfully so. In that lounge, their drinks were expensive. So they really wasn't like having that. Like I was fucking up. I didn't know what was going on. It was bad. Only thing that saved me outside of dealing with them type of customers was my personality. I have a great personality. I'm very likable. And even when I was messing up like on drinks, people didn't care because not only was my personality dope, I was getting them lit. Like they was complimenting me on that. And the drink was good. Like it might have not been 100% exactly right, but they was like they were loving it. So, but just keep in mind that certain lounges might not play that line on your application. But in my opinion, I don't think, depending on the lounge and like if it's like super upscale or if it's more like a laid back, because this lounge, when I got into like bartending there, they were, it was like chaotic. It was a chaotic lounge. It was just a lot going on. They were desperate. Um, it was just a real messy lounge. So I was able to kind of like wiggle my way in there. And so that worked in my favor. But all lounges ain't like that. Some lounges be on point. You get the asking them questions, they gonna be like, if you really bartend, you should know that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, a full blown restaurant, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think like all the spots that I had like bartending were like more of like a lounge. Now, there was one spot that was considered like a restaurant, I will say. Actually, I'm lying. So it was like a restaurant during the day and then like a lounge at night. Like you had to be like 21 and over to be at this spot. So working there, it wasn't that it was like a upscale restaurant or anything, but they catered to all different type of people. And same thing, they had a menu, so it was really easy for me to learn the drinks from that. And they had like a slushy machine. So a lot of people, so when you're working at restaurants that have like pre-made drinks, that can save you too. The best thing you could do with that is like making sure you're pouring it cute to match the color. You know how to, ladies, you know how we do. Put the the cherries and the fruits, make it look exotic, stuff like that. That'll win people over. And then, like, far as the money between like a strip club, a lounge, and a restaurant, I'm not gonna lie. The thing is with strip club is money always flying. Like with a strip club, it's just gonna be money flying all night. So I would say the money is gonna be more at like a strip club that's doing good. Now, if you at a strip club where it ain't no money being made, it might be a risk. But then again, even like sometimes you'll notice that bartenders are making more than the dancers. Like, I'm gonna keep that real. And I'm gonna get into dancing too, just like a little bit. But yes, so I would say if you're a beginner, you could start out like at a strip club where they're only pouring shots and it's like really quick, fast money. Now um, a lounge, you're kind of gonna be like a bottle girl and a server. Like hands down, you're gonna be both because the servers also serve the bottles. Now, granted, it depends on the lounge. Like I have been at spots, not necessarily that. No, one spot that I worked at, actually, yes, there they had bottle girls and servers. So it depends on the lounge. Always scope this, like just pay attention. When you going in spots, it's sometimes best to be a customer. Always be a customer and see how the girls are acting. Like, are they friendly? Do they seem like they got an attitude? You can't always judge that, but just kind of watch. Like, is it a lot of attitudes going on? Because then it's either they got some outside shit going on or the job just sucks. And you don't want to go into nothing like that. But at the same time, I get it. You got to start somewhere. But just kind of look at that because all the spots that I actually worked at, I was a customer first before I started working there. And that's what made me want to work there. But sometimes you don't find out how shady shit is until you start working there. Because a lot of spots, and even when I started working there, we know how to make shit look good. And that's what our job is as bartenders, bottle girls, servers, dancers. Our job is to make that shit look good no matter what's going on behind the scenes, because at the end of the day, it's our money, y'all. It's our money on the line, right? So just always keep that in mind. Now, when it comes down to like I was saying, with serving and bottle girling at a lounge, it's pretty much the same thing. um Depending on the lounge that you work at. Now, with serving, you're going to obviously be serving food, the drinks, everything, and it can get intense. Like, it can become a lot depending on like how big a table is, depending on that person's personality. Like, you just got to be able to work with all different type of people. Everybody ain't going to be cool. Everybody ain't gonna care that it's your first day. So you can't let these people get in your head. Just know you're there for a bag. Just always be polite. Don't never seem like you got an attitude. It's gonna mess with your money. And if you don't care, it's no point to be there. Like, you're there to make money. And 9 times out of 10, like I said, unless it's like a upscale spot, you're not going to make that much hourly, and you're going to depend on your tips. So you want to have personality. And I'm not going to lie, but with my experience, most people could already tell that I was new, and they didn't care because my personality. They like, girl, we could tell you new, but it's okay, we got you. Like, depending on where you at, the customers aren't new, you are. A lot of the people already been there. So, and then one thing too that I will say, when you get in that industry, if you want to really like do your big one and get that money, learn shit like on downtime. When shit's slow, be learning the menu, be playing around with that shit, like the SOS, I believe is what it's called. That's the little big black thing y'all be seeing like nowadays. Because some places you could write it down, and then most nowadays, like most spots, you gonna be on that SOS where you taking the orders. So I always, like, if I'm walking around, I be just looking at stuff, whatever, and it just start coming to you. Um, Now, with the working with a restaurant. So, with restaurants, you're going to want to be a little bit more on the professional side, like as opposed to a lounge. Most lounges want their girls to be sexy and flirty and fun. A restaurant, you probably going to be catering to kids, dads, wives. So, keep that in mind. Like, don't be all extra flirty and all of that. Like, always cater more towards the female. I do not care. Always cater more to the female. especially when it's like it's looking like they're on a date. Always compliment. That's how you going. And it's not being fake. Like, it is what it is. Like, that makes that makes you stand out for sure. And I think the dudes, from what the vibe I begin, the dudes be liking that. When you make their date feel good, or their girl or their wife, whatever, their kids, whoever, feel good, it makes the whole experience good. And you, as a server, a bottle girl, bartender, whatever, you always want to make sure that they remember you and that you gave them an experience, flat out. Okay. And when it comes down to the money with a restaurant, I would say, like, if to compare with like a restaurant in a lounge, I would say I made more at like the restaurant type of setting. Restaurants, like I said, it's going to be because they're bringing in kids, more like family type of energy. So you're going to always make more at a restaurant. I do like working at restaurants that still have that like upbeat, because I don't want to wear a uniform. I like being cute at work. It don't have to be that I have to be in nothing sexy like the bottle girl stuff. I'm cool with not having to wear that, but I don't want to wear like a tie and all of that. That's just not me. I'm already in corporate America full time, so like if I'm doing this as a side hustle, I just want to be cute, comfortable, or sexy, but I don't want to feel like I'm in corporate America. The thing is, though, with all of this, is no matter what the industry is, you cannot trust nobody fully. Nobody is your friend. Everybody there is to make money. You can make friends and link ups and all of that, but just be careful. Everybody's pocket watching, everybody's seeing. Like, it's been so much shady shit that I've been through with this industry, and I've only been in the nightlife industry for going on what, maybe like 2 years now. So I'm not like, I mean, some people could say I'm a vet, but I don't feel like I'm a vet. Like, it's people that's been doing this 5+ years, so they know. No, like, I'm only 2 years in, but I feel like by like day one of being in this industry, from bartending at the strip club, I already knew shit was shady from jump. And everybody gonna start off with, "Oh, you look cute," all the compliments, and like, but don't get it fucked up. You are now extra competition, and people love a new face. So now they already know, like, okay, she the new girl. Yeah, I got my loyals, but we got a new face, and everybody loves a new face. So you're going to be competition. So just keep that in mind. You're there to make your bag, but always be friendly. Like, you ain't got to come in there on no mean girl shit. You just stand your 10 toes, but just be yourself. Be yourself. It's a little bit of acting with it. You know what I'm saying? You might be irritated as fuck on whatever's going on outside of work, but once you walk in them doors, you got to be on your shit, whether it's being sexy, professional, whatever. Like, you got to be on your shit, okay? And then when it comes down to dancing, I'm just going to be real. From my experience, I still be feeling like, unless you're doing like the super extra shit, or you a super known dancer, or you could do like pole tricks, or just like you willing to just do a little bit of extra, bartenders make more than dancers. That's just from being on both sides. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I don't know, I feel like it depends, like, depending on the club. Like, I guess it's some spots I've been at where I feel like I know I made more than them, but then it's like, it's been at, and when I say them, I mean like as a dancer, I felt like I was making more than the bartenders. But then, more than none, they're making more money because everybody want to drink all night, no matter what. No, whether a dude paying for a dance, he buying a drink. So bartenders is gonna always leave with a bag. So if it was up to me, whether I would be a bartender or a server, a dancer, or a bottle girl, I would have to say I would prefer the bartending. Everybody loves the bartender. You are the star of the show, but it is the most intense. If you are not a tough cookie, if you don't know your drinks, do not try to put yourself out there like that. Start small. If you're not really the type that want to serve food, you just want to be cute, get some tips, be a bottle girl. Bottle girls do make money. However, hands down, as a server, you're going to get paid. Whether it's already added on the check, or if they just tipping you. Hands down, most people tip. There are some cheap motherfuckers that's not going to tip. They don't care. They're not tipping. But majority of the people will tip with serving. Bottle girl, people sometimes do not feel like they should tip their bottle girls because they feel like I already paid to get in the club, the section, and I'm buying food, and I'm buying side shit. I don't feel like I should tip you. You gotta speak up. It's rare with bartending and serving that you gotta speak up, but bottle girling, you have to speak up. Maybe not like right out the gate because you gotta scope the scenery out, and you just never know who been there for a while. Like, but eventually, like after a few nights of people seeing your face, a couple nights maybe, you definitely want to start like speaking up. And then even then, I guess it depends on the settings. Like if it's an after hour, you're bartending that, because after hours usually have like the same crowd of people, dependent on again where you're at. But majority after hours have the same. If it's local, or like I said, it's usually the same people. And it depends on like if it's an African after hour, if it's a Dominican after hour, if it's a black after hour. I don't know who's watching this. I'm black, but you could be African. You could be black going to work in an African after hour. You could be Latino. You could be Mexican. I don't know. Y'all know y'all culture better than me. But my experience, I worked in an African after hour, and they were more community with their after hours. So I didn't just come right in there like demanding tips. Like I let them get a feel for me, because they are like that. Like I don't know, and being black, they just gotta feel you out. That was the experience that I had. But after a while, they start seeing you sexy, you on your shit. A lot of them, the big bosses, they'll just give you money just because. And then outside of that, eventually you're gonna have to let them know. Like, you gotta be sexy with it. Like, y'all tipping. It's a way. It's not what you say, it's how you say it and how you are with it. And some of them may have an attitude, but as long as they tip you, who cares about their attitude? Get your money. But I don't care if they African, Mexican, whatever. Make sure after like the first 2 nights you start speaking up. Like, you're not there to work for free, because I will say, if it wasn't for the owner of the first after hour that I worked at as a bottle girl, I wouldn't have made no money my first 2 nights. It was thanks to him, because he still had paid his girls for our time. Like if he did a really good night, he would just give us money for showing up. No, I think he did that. If I'm not mistaken, I think dude really, it would be different amounts, but he did give us money every night, but it would be different amounts. But so yeah, just keep that in mind with bottle girling. Now, another thing, be careful with getting connected with the owners. Like with men in this industry, especially a new girl, especially if you're young, sexy, whatever the case may be careful with that, because now your money on the line, and it's a thin line. Some of them will try to sabotage you for not talking to them, and some of them will even sabotage you even if you do talk to them. But the biggest thing is, if you are going to flirt and use that to your advantage, don't tell none of the other girls. Them bitches is not your friend, and they, excuse my language, but they not your friends, and they will hate on you. Don't ask me how I know, but they will. Trust me. Whatever you do, your side quest, keep it to yourself. Because truth be told, they could talk shit about the owner or whatever, but they could low-key be mad that he giving you more attention than he giving them. So whatever you do with that, just be very careful and just know what you're doing and be smart. So I hope this video, I don't want to drag it out any longer, but I hope this video helps somebody that's trying to go into the industry. I will do a separate vlog about being a dancer, because that's going to be a whole video within itself. This was just more like my experience on the four things: bartending, bottle girling, serving, and dancing. But I'll probably do like different vlogs on just each topic. But I hope this kind of helps, because I know when I first was starting out, I was going on YouTube looking at videos to see like how much money you can make. And I guess I could give y'all like a dollar amount. So like my first night bartending, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like nothing crazy. I think I had walked out with like 250 my first night. And then I would say serving my first time, I would say I made like 3, and that was because I was getting hourly plus like what they already charge, and then some people would tip on top of it with the restaurant with gratuity and all of that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it just fluctuates depending on where you're at. But and this is like first night. I'm not saying every night was like that. And then I would say like bottle girling. My first night, I ain't gonna lie, I made I think like $60, and that was because the owner paid us. And then my first time dancing like as like now, I would say my first night I made I made close to like 500. And this wasn't even a strip club. This was some private shit. And it was just only 2 nights a week. It was super private, and it wasn't like throwing money in the air. These dudes were like judges, lawyers, masons. Like, you had to have a membership at this spot that I was at, so it was like a whole different type of vibe. But yeah, we'll talk more, y'all. So I'm definitely excited to talk to y'all more about the nightlife. And I'm not trying to encourage nobody to go into the nightlife. Serving and being a server and a bartender, you don't have to work at clubs. You can do that in restaurants. So I'm just saying, if this is what you're into, I just want to help. Of course, this is for anybody that's 18 and over. Serving, I think you could be like 16, 15. But yes, y'all, thank y'all so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And thank y'all.